Yo, testing, seems to be working. Good afternoon, early birds. It's very early everywhere around the world, but I'm going to introduce the new bucket tool from Chain Andes. I've actually never used it on the stream, haven't used it that much at all. I think it's time to start using it. You probably have seen Nut Racing streams, and he uses it a lot. So I'm here today to get this done before Nut Racing wakes up and does his thing. So I'm going to introduce what it is. I'm going to explore it. And if I mess it up, I'm sorry. I'm a first timer. I'm a virgin almost. So bucket tool it's archivist's. If you're familiar with that, I covered that earlier, but it's a bit more. I don't know the word in English. I know in Finnish, but you can do a lot more with it. And basically, it's just a tool to see solver outputs. So it's not the software that makes calculation, not the software that creates anything. It's a software that you can view and see what solver has done. And today we're focusing on preflop. What you do with Bucket Tool is you create a situation, you load ranges, and then you can explore those. And if you have just a Monka viewer or solver, it shows you the whole strategy. And the great thing, or the greatest thing in my mind, is that with Bucket Tool, you can select buckets. And there's all kinds of buckets, but you have these familiar chain and there's different, how many there are, 76 different categories for ranges. And that's what we're using today. It's situation where cutoff opens, we are at the button, we have a hand, should we fold, call, or raise. And I could put all the buttons hands, and most of the hands would be quite no-brainer. Button fold, 77% almost. So 3 out of 4 hands we would fold, and it would be quite boring because most of the time it's no-brainer. Or if I just feel a very strong hand, it's easy that most of them are 3-bet. So I decided to pick up the buckets that are somewhat problematic for me. And what I chose for today is we have double suited rapid ace high. I'm using PLO 50. There's been discussion, should we use PLO 50, should we use PLO 500 because the rate back is so generous. Not sure if there's a huge difference and how much we should count on having the rate back because some players don't have that generous rate back. So I'm using PLO 50 now, which is probably closer to PLO 10 players that don't have a sick rate back. There's double suited rapid ace high hands like those ace 7-4 deuce, ace 10, 7-4, double suited. Should we play them on the button or not? Some are not, but some get really close to playing or not. Often have hard time. Do I overvalue them? Do I undervalue them? Some double suited rundowns when it becomes a 3-bet and so on. Double suited connected near Broadway. So double suited hands often creates problems whether we should play them or not. And then we have some single suited ace high Broadways when it's strong enough to 3-bet, ace high non-Broadway suited ace, and so on. And then we have some rundowns connected near Broadway hand single suited. Are they ever play? Some high pocket pairs, and then some double paired hand, and so on and so on and so on. So a lot of hands that are often more or less problematic for some players. And then we have the training tool. So I picked up all those buckets. And then what we can do is we can start trading. And it opens a new window. Let's zoom a little. And there's the hand, and we can select what should we do. And it shows us the percentage according to solver. Yeah, Talon, it uses the same marker calculations as Vision's matrix everyone uses. So the same solver strategy that everyone uses, just another tool to watch it. Difference in Visions is that you can use those buckets. Like this kind of practicing would be impossible with Visions, and Visions is 100 a month. This is free if you're a member of Mastermind, and it's in beta phase. When it becomes full release, I think it's going to cost some money. So let's use it while it's still free. So what we're going to do is now we could select what should we do, and there's actually is our poll. So let's move this a little. Oh, that's for following PVCSN8, and that's look better for following. People have really hard Twitch nicknames. Thank God the people's real names are not that hard. So you can join in the chat by just saying what should we do. 1 for phone, 2 for call, 3 for raise pod, and then we can just see how close we are. So HT95 really rapid ace high, not connected. I would say phone. So that's easy. And I'm trying to. Okay, I have to do all of that to start a new poll. All right, suited queens. I have to say that I have probably overvalued pocket pairs in preflop calls a lot in the past. And in the past, of the past, like many years ago, I overvalued them a lot. I didn't call them. I mean, I didn't fold them pre-flop to opens. And then at some point, I started to check from the database. Yeah, different suits. I know. You can see there. I was about to come there. That you can see some variations, and then you can see the similar bucket of hands and so on. So I overvalued a lot. Then one day I watched from the tracker database how I'm doing with pocket pairs when I'm calling, and the graph was just going down. But suited queens, 3 sucks. I mean, one thing is solver strategy versus real life strategy, especially in pigeon stakes or small stakes or micros, whatever word you're using. I would say that solver strategy is not optimal because none of the opponents are playing solver strategy, so you have to adjust a little. Like yesterday, we were talking. Whose stream was it? Can't even remember. We were talking about ace blockers that should be. Oh yeah, it was Finnish stream, PLO stream. We were talking about should you do ace blocker bluffs on monotone boards barreling 3 streets on micros. And in solver strategy, yeah, it does. If you want to be balanced, it does. Someone said that in the high stakes, people do it all the time. Is it profitable on micros? It's not because no one phones a flush. And the guy told me that, yeah, he made a triple barrel bluff with blocker raise and opponent calling 3 streets with the straight. So you have to adjust a little. And this is kind of hand that it really depends on opponent. So if the opponent is passive and very straightforward, I could see a call. I wouldn't mind a phone. I have no idea what solver does. I'm a total noob in solver strategy. So I would say that solver folds because of the tree. But no, solver calls. So I got it wrong. Twitch chat was right. Of course, Twitch chat is right because Twitch chat is the nuts. It was a call. Oh yeah, we could see the same bucket on, well, let's see on this hand what these buttons do. All right, suited racket kings. If we call with the queens, we definitely call with the kings, I think. I would be really amazed if this is something else than a call. And it's 100% call. So we open the bucket tool, and there are variations on the bucket, which is single suited kings and queens. And you can see that we only fold 22%. And the hands that we fold are really racket queens, really racket kings. And the threshold is somewhere around here. Yeah, really disconnected single suited ones, trips. Oh, you can see it, sorry. Okay, now you can see it better. Sorry for that. So we can see that the threshold starts to be in somewhere around here. Even queen, queen, jack, 4 double suited is fold 71% of times. So with the bucket, you can see on the same strength bucket, different hands, how they play. And on the suit, you can see some suit variations. I have no idea where did it open it. Okay, my computer froze. Now it opened. It was just lazy ass. I'm going to order actually a new computer with quite a lot of RAM, so this will be better. Here we can see the same hand king queen 4 deuce with different suits. And it's never a raise because it's single suited. The bucket is single suited, so we don't have double suited ones. So this is quite straightforward. Almost always single suited kings, even racket ones, is a call. I have 16 now. We'll get 256 gigabytes. I have 16. I don't know why bucket tool is sometimes so slow on me. No idea. Right? King then a6. I can say that these are the hands that are so easy to overvalue. Like you have 3 connected cards, almost 4, high suit. Oh, I'm going to 256. So then I don't need to upgrade my laptop. These are the hands that, especially when you're tilting, like you get a bit annoyed. Some unknown player called not raising makes a stupid ass bluff and gets there on the river. Just an example. And then you get a little bit annoyed and you want to get back to him. Like, damn, I'm going to show that German dude who's the boss. Who's the boss here? And you start to overvalue these. And these are, especially for me, I mean, I had some mental game flaws and I still have. And especially in the past when I got this injustice tilt. So it feels like people are playing really bad and get rewarded, and I lose all in after all in after all in, suck out after suck out after suck out. At some point, I get annoyed on the opponent, and I get this thought that I want to show them. Now I know it's triggering point. If I get that thought, I stop playing. But in the past, I didn't, and these were the hands that I started to overvalue. This suddenly starts to become that I could 3-bet this hand. It has so much potential. And I have no idea what Solver does. I mean, it has potential, but it's there's triple cap and one of those caps is double cap. I would say that we are not calling that much, so I would say it's a fold. And it is 100% fold. And yeah, block flow is raising pot. Yeah, that's what I said. it becomes appealing. Yeah, we should have those signals with the rundowns too. All right. Ace 10 9 7. Is this ever a 3-bet single suited? I have no idea. I would just call. Definitely not fold. It's a call, but when does this hand become a 3-bet? And some of you are going to 3-bet. I have no idea. And the cute thing about this solver strategy is that I don't know. It has to be mixed. Then you're always right. Always, if you have ever have doubts in solver quizzes like these bucket two streams, and someone asks, should I 3-bet or should I call? You can always say that use a mixed strategy because everything is mixed. Just mix it. Like that's the oldest excuse on the table to do something stupid. I don't even know how many hand histories I've read on forums where people say that, yeah, normally I open, but I decided to mix a little and call this time, or I decided to mix a little and 3-bet. Normally I do something, here I did stupid, my justification is I mix. And you can get away with anything. So yeah, I would say it's a mix strategy, but that's stupid. So we want to pick up what would be the highest percentage. Oh, this is from the bank. I have to take this one. Just a second. Monta ne? On puhelimessa. No morjesta. Ei olekaan. Miten voin auttaa? Joo, niin se jostain syystä pyytää. En ole kyllä tänään kokeillut, kun siirryin maksamaan verkkopankissa, mutta on monta päivää pyysi jostain syystä. Joo. Mulla ei ole tunnuslaitetta ja mä en mistään pysty vaihtamaan, että se käyttäisi sovellusta. Joo. Okei. Siis mä oon käyttänyt sormenjälkeä tähän asti. Okei. Hei, mä koitan. Mä en nyt pysty sitä tekemään. Niin mä koitan tossa hetkosen päästä, kun mä pystyn. Että oh boy. Yeah. Sorry. I thought I muted my microphone. Thank God I didn't give any personal information. It was just from the bank. I have problems with my mobile application. It would be nice to give all the passwords there. All right, so what did we end up? Twitch chat says it's a call. Someone says raise spot, and there's one hero who likes to fold. Who is that? Who cared if microgrinder? I would say it's a call, and 100% call, not even close. Not even close. Is it ever a 3-bet? Oh yeah, it is. Ace 10 9 8. 3-bet, 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 3-bet. And now the big threshold is there. So ace 10 9 8 ace 10, ace jack, knight 7. So pretty much with ace and 3 corners. So this is close. Ace 10, 9, 8 would have been a 3-bet. So we are very close. So those who said it's a 3-bet, you were not far. And remember, it's not absolute truth that, okay, if you 3-bet this hand, your soul has to go to hell and your life is miserable. It doesn't. Yeah, it's a PLO 50 rate. So it takes rate into account. I would say that PLO 500, it might be. Yeah, with the suited ace, of course. Always suited ace. I would assume that on PLO 500, it might even 3-bet this one. Not sure. Or then it doesn't. But it's so close to threshold that the EV of ace 10, 9, 8, 3-betting and 3-bet of ace 10, 9, 7 is not far. Like you can see that EV of call is half a BB, EV of 3-bet is 0.4 BB, so almost the same. So all you have to do in real life is to understand the thresholds. So whether you 3-bet this hand or not, it doesn't affect your win rate probably at all, that decision. Or if you call with ace 10, 9, 8, it's not a huge mistake. It's so close to the threshold. All right, really rapid ace, but it's double suited. How much do we value double suitedness? A lot of folds, a lot of folds. These are the hands that you see people 3-betting when they get a bit annoyed. When you just poke someone on the table long enough, he starts to 3-bet these hands. I would fold. Yep. And not even close. Right opposite the kings, we had almost the same hand. It was king, queen, 4 deuce. Would anyone 3-bet? We are quite anonymous. Yep. But you can see that the EV of 3-betting is not that far away. 0.7 BB still. So even if you 3-bet this hand, well, double suit, I would assume it's always a 3-bet. Because even single suit did, the EV of 3-bet is still quite high. So if you 3-bet this hand, you are not going to hell. And your life is not turning miserable because of that. Racket queen, then 9. Well, it's not racket. There's just a cap on the top and double cap on the bottom. 3 spades. Is there a reason to play this hand? Would anyone play this hand? But people fold less than GTO. They're probably bad for 3-betting wider. Well, the thing is that king 5-4 is a strong hand. I mean, yeah, no one folds to 3-bet on micros. That's the starting point. In solver strategy, you have fold equity with 3-bets. But when you go to PLO 10, PLO 20, on average, no one folds to 3-bet no matter what they have. And people cold call 3-bet sometimes with hands that should be folds, even to a single raise. So they often enter the post flop with a lot weaker range than in solver strategy. So then you have more fold equity often post flop. Or people get it in with one pair versus your overpair and flush draw and so on. So I would say that 3-betting suited kings in position is still profitable in macros because you have a lot of fold equity on the flop. Who would call? Moonlight Master. Well, it's not that bad, but it's still bad. It's bad. It's not super bad. All right. Ace, queen, jack, 8. Suited to ace. Now the question is it a 2 or 3? Is this sponsored stream? No. Sponsored. What do you mean, Toad Milk? Is it sponsored? As far as I know, it's not. Probably it means if someone is paying me to use the bucket tool, no one is. Uh, Call or 3-bet. I mean, we would 3-bet ace 10 9 8. In a sense, ace queen jack 8 is a better hand, but is it the 3-bet hand? That's where I fall from solver's thinking. Like, is this hand blocking queens and jacks, which would fold to a 3-bet, and therefore it's a bad 3-bet, or what's the reason? I don't know. Oh, I don't get anything in return, so it's not sponsored. But I know that in reality I would 3-bet this. Oh, it's a mixed. Forgot to say that. Not sure if we can see that easily what to do versus 4-bet. I think not raising used PLO matrix. So I don't know. Can we use the preflop helper? Does it say what to do? Does it say what should we do versus 4-bets? Yeah, well, okay, 3-bets versus cutoff only 9% of times. Here it's 25%, but the EV is the same. But I wouldn't fold to 4-bet. I don't know. But it's so rare to hit 4-bet when you have ace in your hand overall. But yeah, it's a mixed. But call is 75%, so a lot more calls. But you can see the EV. The EV is the same between call and 3-betting. So if you do 3-bet this hand like I would, okay, second. But we're not going to do that now. But nice to know. I would 3-bet this. EV is the same. All right, this should be easy. Or I don't know. Every time when I think that, okay, this is easy, it goes horribly wrong. Is there any reason to play this hand? Well, well, I wouldn't. If it's suited to ace, then yeah. But when it's not, 100% fold. Okay, I had only 10 hands, so let's do another 10. Actually, we could use a bit more. Let's make 20 hands. Oh, I love these ones. Small rundowns. I know for sure that I play these way more than Solver would, because I like the playability and visibility of them. And for some reason, people never give respect on those small boards. If you represent that, you have something. but this is a fold. A little portion of me in real life, when cutoff opens, if the cutoff name is not raising, little portion of me would like to 3-bet this one and then stack him off on a small board and tell him that nice hand. Whoa, it's 100% call. Yeah, well, so much for being easy stuff. 100% call. Well, the EV difference is not huge. You can see that call is 0.1 BB in solver strategy and float is 0, so it's very close to threshold. So I would say that if you have a post-flop edge, so you are a better player than your opponent, this EV goes higher. The EV is more than 0.1. If your opponent is better player than you, then this probably goes down a little. But wow, that was surprising. Well, 9865. Future EV of nice hand must be higher than 1.2 BB. No, it can even be minus EV as long as you win it. It's the nice hand value. So you can make horrible decision in EV just to suck out nut raising, just to get to say nice hand to him when he loses to one outer. That's nut raising value. If we play 6-5-4-3, we definitely play 9-8-6-5. And it's definitely not enough to 3-bet. There shouldn't be any other option than to call, but there's mixed strategy. Sorry, I'm a little sick. 1% folds. So there's 1%. Wow. So remember, don't always call. You have 1% folds. Oh, that's funny. All right. Single suited kings with a bit better side cards than the 5-3 or 4 deuce. I don't think it 3-bets even double suited rundowns. We should have some double suited rundown hands at some point too. If you remember 3-betting king 4 deuce, king 5-3, the 3-bet was very close to calling the EV of 3-bet. So not sure where is the borderline when this becomes a 3-bet. I would not be surprised if it was a mixed strategy. Yeah, rundowns should benefit from isolating. One thing that doesn't work at pigeon stakes is isolation 3-bets. Because I think that almost every time when I try to make good old school isolation 3-bet, then one of the blinds cold calls with weird hands. And it happens so often. Before in this over, we had this old school 3-betting strategy where all the rundowns we 3-bet to isolate because they work better in a heads up pot, which is right. But then when you do that at small stakes, people just cold call 3-bets and you find yourself in a nasty 4-way pot with SPR1 with a crappy hand. Call on 3-bet. Twitch chat says call. It's a mixed strategy, which is weighted towards 3-betting. EV is the same, so in reality, it doesn't really matter which one you choose. So, no problem. No matter what you answered, you can pat yourself on the shoulder. It was right. All right. rapid ace, three hearts. This should be a no-brainer. You have to be in monkey tilt to play this hand. Yep. So this was quite easy. All right. No more monkey tilts. It's double suited. Similar hand, but instead of three hearts, we are now double suited. Is it enough to play? Cutoff opens. We are on the button. There's one fold. There's two folds, one call. We're getting a mixed strategy here. Oh, I love that. I want a t-shirt that says that I use mixed strategy. You can get away with anything. I mean, you can rob a bank and then the police arrests you and asks why you do it. You say that I apply mixed strategy. My morality has mixed strategy. With the law, I play with mixed strategy. I would say fold. But the EV of a call is not horrible. 3-bet would be quite interesting, but the EV of a call is not that horrible. So once again, if you do a call with this hand, it's not going to sink your win rate. The hand selection, the way you play it might. All right, one of those problem hands again. Not suited to ace. 4 Broadway cards, but not a suited ace, and you have 3 spades, which sucks ass. Are you an ice hockey player? No, I just watch ice hockey a lot. I mean, is folding horrible? That's what I'm thinking here. But I'm the only one. Everyone else is calling or 3-betting. Wow. I would say that suited ace it would be a 3-bet, but I was thinking about fold. Damn. Oh, it is a 3-bet. Wow. Once again, Twitch chat is the nuts. Wow. Because I would say the 3 spades connected, you're blocking all the flush outs that might give you ever value if you make the flush. Wow. Thank you, Future Luck, for following. Just a second, I'm opening the suit box. Okay, it's never a fold. So even with rainbow, it's a call. And pretty much suited in any way, it's a 3-bet. Wow. As long as it's suited to queen. Wow. I would definitely have undervalued this hand. So if this 10 is any other than spades, it would be 100% 3-bet. 3 spades made your bluff catch. Well, yeah, but of course, if the spades comes, there's less chance that he's having the spades, but still, I'm with weird. Super strange. Probably the weirdest hand so far today, to me. For some, it might be no brainer, but I would never 3-bet this hand. Wow. Well, What do you know? Senior suited kings, once again. Now the sidecars are not connected. We have had the senior suited kings a lot. I think it's easy call. Not good enough to 3-bet, although the EV of a 3-bet is probably decently high. Never a fold. And everyone says call. And it is 100% call. EV of 3-bet is still 0.4 BBs. We should have queens. And just haven't picked up any yet. But here we have these double suited rundowns that we were talking about. 1, 2, or 3. Do we ever want to fold? There's a top cap and double cap action in the top, which hurts the hands a lot more than it would be 10, 9, 6, 5. Then 9, 7, 5 actually. Double cap on the bottom. Yeah, Mulan Master, feel free to say. That's what we are here to learn. This is not a stream where we kick out the one who makes most wrong answers. This is not reality show. We are here to learn. And with solver strategy, the thing is that macro solver gives you output, but it doesn't tell you why solver does something like what he does. Like, why would he 3-bet ace queen jack then with 3 spades not suited to ace? No one can tell you for absolute truth why solver wants to 3-bet that hand. So we have to figure out it ourselves. I don't know why it 3-bet that hand. Probably someone who's wiser can enlighten us. I would call. I mean, it's old school isolation 3-bet. And it's in solver, it's isolation 3-bet. Damn. And Twitch chat is the nuts. Chat was right. I mean, Twitch chat knows everything. Okay, we have global warming issue. No problem. Give it to Twitch chat. We have coronavirus. No problem. Ask Twitch chat how to deal with it. Anything. I mean, if you could implement Twitch chat in the poker client, and there would be a stream where you play PLO, and Twitch chat would have that time bank to make a poll, and then the client would play what Twitch chat is saying. I mean, it would crush Venividi. Venividi would be a sissy versus Twitch chat. All right. King jack then. Raise those trees. If this is not a 3-bet, I don't know what is. Yeah, we need Twitch chat PLO bot or PLO client. That would kill online poker. I mean, no one would play anymore. Funny thing is that the EV of a call is insanely high too. All right, racket ace high crap. Pohvelisankari is following. Thank you. Do we play? And it's not the worst. I mean, you have 3 cards to wheel. Ace 7 3 deuce. Our Twitch chat is single-minded. Why did I question Twitch chat? Why in the world did I start to question Twitch chat? Ace queen jack 8. Is it a 3-bet or not? That's the question. I mean, we 3-bet the same hand with 3 spades almost. Well, not almost. It has 10, but uh, if we 3-bet ace 10 9 8, why wouldn't we 3-bet this one? It's probably a mixed, and it's 45-55 mixed. Do whatever you want, but 3-betting is a bit high frequency. EV is the same, so once again, it doesn't matter which one you choose. I'm not sure who wanted to fold this hand, but dude, don't make misclicks. All right, first double paired hand, double suited, disconnected. 9 on 3 3. I know what I would do. I would 3-bet this one, and then someone comes in the chat and tells me that you cannot 3-bet that hand. And then I explain why I think that in small stakes you have better value with 3-betting this hand than calling. But now we have a really mixed strategy. Someone is even folding. I love double paired hands. They're super nice to play. And because of the 9 high suit, I would 3-bet. Solver doesn't 3-bet. That's where we have different opinions with Solver. I don't think Solver would ever 3-bet this hand. But I definitely see points why in small stakes you could 3-bet. Solver is just calling. All right. Uh, this is probably, oh, I don't know, is it 3-bet because we are blocking kings. Or does it matter? It's just such a strong hand that let's 3-bet it anyway. I would say that most likely we get a mixed strategy, but how much it's weighted towards 3-betting. Everything is mixed nowadays. So it's 2 or 3, both are fine options. Twitch chat is going for call. Wow. Same EV. Is it the same? No. Wow. Well, EV is literally same. The difference is 0.1 BB. So there's so many other things that affect the overall outcome than just the hand selection. So you can't go wrong by calling or putting, but solver likes to call 97% of times. And I don't know whether the king matters, because now we are blocking the kings, which is one of the hands that would fold to 3-bet decently often. And Utna is asking, if it's a mixed strategy, how do you determine which action to take? If there's 2 answers, whether you want to be really balanced, you play in a really tough games, or whether you play on small stakes and you don't give a fuck about balance. And if you're a hardcore pro, you can use the side cards as randomizers. I mean, you don't have to remember every hand, every threshold. But if we go to the strength bucket like ace, queen, jack, 8 and similar hands, then you can use the side cards to randomize, like ace, queen, jack 9. If they're single caps, we 3-bet, double caps, we don't. And then you get built-in randomizer. If you have a randomizer tool that gives you number between 0 and 100, the problem is that you would have to remember every hand's frequencies, and that's not for humans. But in reality, not many of us will ever play in games where you have to be perfect balanced. And we can see that most hands, the call-in and 3-bet in EV is the same. So I would say it doesn't matter what you do. Because even if you always call with the hand, or you always 3-bet the hand, For the opponent to get into showdown in that cutoff versus button situation where you 3-bet ace, queen, jack, 8, for him to even have the suitable information to know you are a bit slightly unbalanced, it would require, I don't know, millions of hands. Like he would need thousands cutoff versus button situations where you 3-bet him and you have the ace, queen, jack, 8 or the strength background of ace high rundown. And that's never going to happen. So the thing is that if you're unbalanced but the opponent doesn't know it, he cannot exploit you. So in reality, you don't have to worry about whether well, this hand in solver is an easy call, but with ace, queen, jack, 8, if it's 50-50, do whichever you choose to. I would say that there are many other things that should affect your decision making. It's stack sizes. What do we know about the opponent? What's the dynamics on the table? Do we want the blinds to enter the pot or not? So do we want to pull target players from the blinds into the hands, or do we want to push them away? There's a good rep on the blinds. We 3-bet to knock the shit out of him. Those matter much more to the decision making than whether we want to use the 45 or 55 frequency for calling or 3-betting. So I would say on mixed strategy, make your life easy. Don't worry about it too much. And if it's heavily weighted like 75-25, you can just always 3-bet it. And you don't go wrong. All right. Suited queens with the king. If it was queen, queen, jack something, it would be closer to something. I think this should be an easy fall. Easy call. Even I wouldn't fold this one. And there's a couple of 3-betters. Wow. Well, the EV of 3-bet is not horrible. Just a second. Well, single suited queens is never a 3-bet. Here's the bucket. And the string bucket is single suited kings and queens. And when I filter queens, it's 0% 3-bet. 40% of the queens fold. And when we change it to kings, it's only 7% fold. So with the kings, it's almost always a call. Best ones 3-bet. So huge difference between kings and queens. Wow. Quite often you might think that, okay, kings and queens, what's the difference? Ace, king, then 6. Yeah, if you get 4-bet and you have queens, it's a fold. Yeah, Moonlight Master, it's what you think you should do, what you actually do. Well, they should be the same thing if you think on the same stage. But then, if you play PLO 2, then thinking what Solver would do, thinking what I would do might be different things as long as you know why you do it differently. But I would say that even for PLO 2, if you use Solver prefab ranges, you don't go wrong. Because you need to have some prefab ranges. And Solver ranges is a good starting point. The double suited queens might be 3-bet. That strength bucket was single suited queens. Ace king then 6. I would think that it's too strong to fold, but it's too crappy to 3-bet. but it's 40% fold. The 6 really hurts the hand. Wow. Mixed strategy. Twitch chat was onto something. 83% says fold. 6% call. 3 broadways. Yeah. It's versus cutoff open. Wow. Oh. My 3-betting finger is aching. It's itching here. This is my 3-bet finger. Solver is going to call. I know. We agree to disagree. Ace queen 8-5. So rapid hand but suited to ace. And I mean I would just fold the hand in real life. You have to be very optimistic to play this hand. And if you look really deep, you're going to find playable components here, but I would just fold this one. Twitch chat says fold, so it has to be a fold, but it's not. 66% call. Is the suited ace actually that valuable? Seems to be. Wow. All right. Double suited crap. Yeah, if all actions are 0 BB, it doesn't matter what you do. Just don't 3-bet. Suited ace. And, well, it's PLO. You could hit something. I'm just figuring out, does button fold any double suited hands? Well, 4% of times. Very marginal call, but it is a call. Go Twitch chat. Suited ace. Another racket hand with the king. Well, if we called with the ace queen, crap, why wouldn't we call with this one? It's probably a mixed, but I would say that it's a call. And for funds is following, thank you. We are almost at 500. 90 more. And now we'll get some deviation. 80-20. Wow. Moonlight Master, you should fold in the future. I mean, now it's not even the same EV. And this is now where I don't know the answers. Why ace queen 7-5, ace queen 8-5 is a call sometimes, and the EV is same with fold and call, and ace king 9-4 is not. I mean, yeah, queen 8 can make a straight, very unlikely, and 5-8 can make a straight, very unlikely. But now we have two high cards, so versus all those queens, jacks, we have more equity. Yeah, the ace queen 8-5 has more connectivity, but this has more high card value. So in my mind, they look like a similar strength hand. Yeah, ace queen 8-5. So in my mind, ace queen 8-5 and ace king 9-4 is quite close in hand strength. But the difference in the strategies is huge. This is 100% fold. And it's not, I would get it if calling was 0 BB and just Sommer uses this combination to fold 100%, but the difference is quite big. Yeah, then 5-5 super nuts or 4 aces is the ultimate blocker bluffer. All right, ace queen, jack 4. Well, if this 4 was a 10, it would be a 3-bet. So if we change a 10 to 4, does it drop from 3-bet to fold? And Twitch chat is very single-minded for the fold. Who's the brave enough to go against Twitch chat? And once again, Twitch chat is right. Damn. Damn. Okay, let's change the buckets a little. Uh, 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 it's probably so small print that you don't see, but let's take those kings and queens and put jacks and tens. And then we had some, those were quite easy. Those were always 3-bets. Not sure when those are, so we can keep, well, those were never 3-bets. And unsuited ace, yeah, it's probably bad, but it's, if I remember right, it was Broadway hands. This app is, if you're a member of Mastermind, then you get access to the bucket tool at the moment. It's only for the Mastermind members. Do we have anything else that we want? No rainbow hands, we don't like those ones. Double suited jacks and tens, alright. Okay. Let's see if I can open this one. Alright, now we have some super crappy hands here. But let's hope we get more interesting buttons. The first one is definitely has to be a fold. So let's do one bunch of hands. Okay, now we get these more interesting hands. I think the tool is going to cost something when it's fully done, I would assume. Three bet or not three bet, the 5 hurts. We don't have ace. Like if it would be ace queen then 5, then the 5 wouldn't be totally useless. But now it's kind of 3-card hand. It's double suited, but I wouldn't 3-bet this one. Oh, Callan is folding. What? Or was that for the first previous hand? 100% call. 3-betting doesn't even have any value. Right? Jack 10 then 7. Connected tens. One of those problem hands. Like, it's pocket tens, but then you have connectivity with Jack and 7. You could make a wrap on 8, 9. Is it enough? And chat is just single-mindedly voting. Yeah, these are the hands that you suddenly start to call because you can see potential, but it's a crappy hand. Wow. Twitch chat got owned. 100% call. Wow. I think the hell just froze over. Where the rate is bigger. Yeah, you play an eye poker. 6% rate with big cap. Big cap. Yeah, if you play an eye poker where you pay 25 BPs per 100 rate, you fought everything. I mean, your best EV on eye poker is not to open the client. I just read the news today that iPoker the poker revenue went down, and I don't know if the rate is 6 or 6.5% at the moment. Back in the days, iPoker took full rate from split pots, and I once played. It was PLO then, if I remember right. PLO then high low, and there was one opening, so I played heads up PLO high low for fun for a moment, and we played like 15 minutes. And then I wondered that, damn, I'm one buy-in down, and neither of us has higher steps, so both of us have 100 BBs. And I checked that I paid almost a buy-in rate in probably 15 minutes or something. It was still because in high-low, pretty much heads up every pot is a split pot. But it took the full 6.5% rate from every pot. So in heads up, and you get these 150 hands per hour or something, and you pay rate on every pot. It was insane. And then I just closed the table. I was like, this is not good. So don't play high low if split pots are rated. Oh, ace king 9-7. Oh, Twitch just says fold. I would not fold. I would call. But that's why Twitch chat is the pro, and I am the not. Wow. King jack 10-4. Well, we had similar hand. This should be easy call. We didn't 3-bet the previous hand. We don't 3-bet this one. All right, let's go down in hand strength. 3 diamonds. The only good thing in the hand is that it's not king, queen, jack suited. In my mind. And lots of folding. No respect for king high suits. Fold, fold, fold. All right. It was right. Let's fold it. Next one. Is this enough? Because that's what I'm wondering. When tripod tens become good enough to call. Let's open the bucket. We have here jacks and tens. So let's make a filter of pocket tens. Oh, only 28% is a call. And it seems to need to be connected, and all the cards are 8 or higher. Yep. That seems to be the easy threshold. All the cards are 7 or higher. That's if you want an easy way to know when to call with pocket tens. It's not perfect, but it's quite close to the actual threshold. And now I can't remember what solver did with these crappy suited ace hands. And we have had these kind of hands a lot of times today. Twitch chat says fold, fold, fold. One call and more folds. It is a crappy hand. I mean, the suited ace doesn't make it, in my mind, enough to call. And yeah, not even close. What about this? Connected hand but suited to only 10. No mixed strategies for a while. Solver doesn't like ace king. Solver doesn't like deuces. Solver is so picky. And now we have a mixed strategy between fold and call. I would say, because my brain is very limited. I'm an old man. I can't remember everything. So in this kind of situation where I'm not sure, cutoff opens, and if I'm not sure on what to do, then I always choose the most passive line in pre-flops. Like if pre-flop, I'm not sure if I should call or fold. I always fold. If I'm not sure whether I should 3-bet or call, I tend to call. Because probably if I'm not sure, the EV is quite close. But like here, I'm not sure if I should call or fold. So the EV is quite close. So in the long run, even if I play this very well post flop, it doesn't make a difference. But if I fold, the EV is always 0. If I call, and I'm not sure if it's profitable, there's high chance that I will make a lot of mistakes. So to prevent me from making anything stupid, I tend to choose the EV0 line, which would be fold. And here, solver would call, but as we can see, the EV is very close. The difference is 0.1 BBs. So if I fold, it doesn't mean that I'm giving up huge amount of my win rate. Probably a lot more things affect the actual EV of the hand than just the hand selection because it's close to threshold. Yeah, on deuce deuce boards or deuce deuce deuce, just go for pot 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 because solver never has quads. Well, I don't even know if it's a fold on PLO2 because PLO2 probably has quite the same rate as PLO50 or even smaller. Because on many sites on PLO2 the rate is smaller than on PLO50. And in PLO50 not all hands go to the cap. And in PLO2 the thing is that you should have huge post-flop edge over your opponent, which means that all those minus 0.1 BBs turn to be profitable because you just own your opponent's post-flop. Stars PLO50. Well, I don't know. Haven't played Stars PLO50 for years. But I played PLO25 and didn't see many good reps in Zoom. I mean, I didn't spot a single player that would give me a hard time. Well, I would think that damn, that opponent is nasty. While on, let's say, on Run It Once PLO20, I get that feeling every now and then. There's a lot of good PLO players in PLO20. But PLO25 Zoom on PokerStars, the reps are very straightforward. Of course, it's Zoom. That changes things a lot. And because they don't give a rake back, I think the best rakes are not playing there. But the more you go up in stakes, the less it affects that PokerStars doesn't give a rake back. But on PLO 50, like let's say you play every day, the difference on PokerStars and let's say Party Poker or Run It ones, the difference is probably over €1,000 a month in terms of rake back. And why would anyone play on PokerStars? Well, of course, I can figure out reasons, but those reasons has to be quite valuable that you keep up that big amount of rake back. All right, what do we do here? Ace, King, Queen, 5. Chain Andes, 3-bet. Oh, it can't be a 3-bet because Twitch chat is saying, what? Who said fold? Oh, I would go with call. Oh, it's a mix. What? It's a mixed strategy between folding, calling, and then there's the chain and the 3-bet. Chain and is not aggressive. It's just his randomizer stop at 3. What? I don't get this. This is the second hand today that I just don't get it. Why it's fold 43% of time? Is the queen high suit that bad? Probably. Yeah. Modern solver strategy. Everyone is right. No one is unhappy. That was. Wow. I'm amazed by the number of folds, but. Yeah, it has 5, but the 5 is better than 6. And hello, Chain Anders. You came in and you owned us. 3-bet and huge 3% frequency. These are the hands we talked about earlier. When you get tilted and annoyed and you want to show who's the table boss, these hands seems to have a lot of potential. You can make Broadway straights, you can make middle straights, you can make bottom straights, you have suit. I mean, this is Turkish rap. It hits every board. So if for some reason you are looking reasons to play a hand, you might be a bit frustrated, or you play live and you have folded for the past 3 hours. And then you get on the button King 10 8 6 suited. If you're looking for excuse, this hand is a perfect excuse hand. It has potential to anything. But it's crappy hand, which is 100% fold. It is a crappy hand. All right, let's start the poll. Double suited jacks. These are the hands where I have to say I don't know when these type of hands turn to 3-bet versus late positions. Like overall from the button versus cutoff open. Where is it? There it is. We should 3-bet around 8% of hands. So I'm not sure if this goes to the 3-betting category or not. I'm probably the right answer now is it's a mixed strategy. You get everything right. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 3-bet. Twitch chat says it's a call. So it has to be a mixed strategy. But I don't like the 3-bet pocket jacks. I mean, because then when the board is something like 8-7-3 or something, and you have that cut shot and overpair, I would hate my life. So I would call. Oh, there's that 1% 3-bet. But very, very high frequency on calling. And yeah, what Life on Field says that if this would be ace of diamonds, it's different because then you block aces a lot, and then you don't have to worry about on ace high board that much. and you have more equity versus kings, queens. But yeah, if you want to be that 1% of population, if you feel like you're a little bit different, then go ahead and 3-bet. And in 3-bet pot, I would say that it's a lot nicer to flop something with the nut flush draw than something with a king high flush draw when the stacks go in. Fabuloso. Thanks for following. Okay, these were the. I feel stupid because these are. Let's start the ball. Sorry. Uh, this is kind of the hand that we have had so often today, and still I don't know what to do with these hands. And probably the next time this three Broadway hand comes, I don't know. When it's suited to jack, it is a fold. Ace jack jack 9 is a 3-bet, I would assume. But to make things certain, I say it's a mixed strategy. Answer to everything is a mixed strategy. Yeah, suited to jack, this has to be a fold, which it is. Well, no, not the same hand, a lot better hand. Now it's connected, it's king high. Is it enough to 3-bet? And Twitch chat says that, yeah. 3-bet, 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 3-bet. Mixed strategy. This poll should have all those mixed strategy buttons too, so everyone could choose their own. Yeah, ace jack jack seems to be a nice hand, and what Shane Anders says that you have fold equity versus kings, even queens, well, more versus queens. So you fold the hands that have you in a bad shape, and you block the 4-betting range a lot. I would say that it's a mixed strategy. You call versus unknowns, and you 3-bet versus not raising. That's my answer. Oh, solver doesn't 3-bet even versus not raising. It's 100% call. Wow. Well, nothing I can say about that one. King, queen, then deuce. I think it needs to be double suited to 3-bet or have a suited ace. Yeah, Twitch chat is owned twice today. But one time it was owned so hard that it has to be a glitch in the matrix. No other explanation. Everyone folds this hand. All right, let's do it. Well, this is almost the same. Now we can, sorry, I have to restart the poll. So now please type again if you missed it. Ace, king, queen, 3. King, queen, jack, then. Well, we missed that. Now we have mixed strategy between folding and calling. I mean, I would call probably. 3 high cards, decent suit. 3 is dead, but it's better than 6 or 7. Because now you can get cut shots to the wheel to add up some equity. Not sure if solver would call. Yeah, it would. But you see on the EV that it's very close to threshold. So if you fold it, don't be blaming yourself too hard. All right, if it's suited to ace, it's probably a 3-bet. Is it ever a 3-bet with suited king? And okay, now tweet chat is weighting heavily towards calling, but it's almost 50-50 mix. Wow. So even with the king high suit, it becomes 3-bet every now and then. Yeah, you're blocking aces, you're blocking kings. And with suited ace, it's probably 100% 3-bet. But even with king high suit, it becomes 50-50. Well, whoever said 3-bet, it was quite close. Ace, jack, then 8. Well, maybe suited ace, it's a 3-bet. Maybe suited jack, I don't know. Suited 10, it has to be a call. It just has to. Well, I have to say that I don't know how solver plays versus 4-bets. What I have done, calculating equity, like calling that ace high rundown versus ace 4-bet, then 100 pp's deep, pinning the flop is very close to break even. So the question is more about what's the opponent's 4-betting range, and if his 4-betting range is very aces heavy, then with like these kind of hands, if it's suited to ace and you get 4-bet, then pinning the flop and playing versus ace on the flop is very break evenish. So it doesn't really matter if you call the 4-bet or not. I always tend to call because I don't like to fold. It's more fun to see the flop and someone gets a deep stack. And I think that on small stakes, the deeper the stacks are, the more it favors me over my opponents. So I always, if the EV of Campbell is same as EV for folding, I always go for Campbell. Whoa. No one said 3-bet. Twitch chat is owned. It's 99% 3-bet, so the connectivity is weighting more than the lack of high suit. I'm surprised. Can someone explain why this hand is a 3-bet? Mm-hmm. Let me see. So here we can see the variations in suits, and there's a huge drop when it becomes 3-suited. So no matter what the suits are in ace, jack, then 8, it's a 3-bet. But when there's 3 of the same suit, bam, it becomes a call. And rainbow, it's a fold. Wow. Yeah, it's definitely favors being heads up instead of multi-way, but I'm surprised. Right, jack then 9-7. Double suited rundown. To 3-bet or to 2-bet? Oh, everyone is 3-betting this. That's what they do on YouTube too. And Moonlight Master calls for the mixed strategy, 100% 3-bet. But if you for some reason call not horrible, the EV is still quite high. So you're not going to be burned alive. Yeah, definitely call a 4-bet. Never ever fold the 4-bet when you have those hands. What about these? 10 and 8-6. Earlier when we had pocket tens, the threshold was either connected or all the cards are 7 or higher. So I would say that with the 3 clubs and 8-6, this drops to be a fold. Oh, Twitch chat is getting closer. It's 100% fold, but the EV of a call is the same. But yeah, it drops to be a fold. Ace queen then 4. With ace king then 4, if you remember, it was 50-50 fold or call. So does Sommer love ace queen more than ace king? And now the chat is just going for call. There's one 3-better and one folder. Always has to have deviating opinions. I would say call. What? Didn't see that one coming. So PV CSN 8th. Congratulations for owning everyone else. It is a fold on solver. And it's 100% fold. Wow. I just trying to figure out that should we just fold all those non-suited ace 3 Broadway cards with the dangler? Because even the ace king something something was just 50-50 fold or call. So these 3 Broadway cards without suited ace is just clear fold. Make your life easy. Right, we have got a few more. Double suited sixes. Is it good enough to play? Probably in real life I would just fold the hand because you have basically 2 components that you're happy to see, and hitting the bottom set is nice and the opponent starts to put money into the pot. So the only component we're super happy and could hit at least decent amount of times is suited ace. In my mind, it's not enough to call, but I have no idea what solver does. Twitch chat says call. And where is the Chain Andes who says 3-bet? Bam! Yeah, you can make a straight flush too. Wow. I mean, if Chain Andes would have said 3, I would be laughing at him. I would say that, dude, but it's 1 out of 3 times it's a 3-bet. And now I'm just, I'm lost. I have no idea what to say here. I mean, how could I be so wrong? Twitch chat was right. So when in doubt, go to Twitch chat. It will solve all your problems, but 31% 3-bet in my mind, or it wouldn't cross my mind to 3-bet a663. I mean, who of you would actually think about 3-betting? Of course, now when you see it, it's easy to say, yeah, I would 3-bet. But in real life, how many of you would think about 3-betting on the button versus cutoff if you had a663? I don't know what makes it a 3-bet. I don't even want to guess. So the whole bucket of double suited ace high mid low pair is 53% 3-bet, which is insane. I think I learned a lot in the past minute. Let's hide that one. So overall, these middle to low pairs, so ace, small pair, overall it's 53% 3-bet. Who knew that? I didn't know. Yeah, it's always double suited. And only these really small ones are calls, like deuces and threes and fours and fives. And sixes is still, well, sixes is most of the times a 3-bet. So there's the threshold. Probably with sevens, yeah, it becomes almost always a 3-bet. So double suited mid to low pair. So you could say that double suited ace high with mid pair is always a 3-bet versus late position here. Wow. I mean, it's so damn hard to play post flop. I mean, now you know that, okay, Solver 3-bets those ace 6 threes or ace 7 threes. And then you 3-bet it on the button. And then flop comes whatever. An opponent checks. And then you are wondering, what the hell am I going to do here? That 3-betting those hands will put you in some nasty spots. So I would say that before you start to 3-bet them, make sure you know how to play them post flop. Because otherwise you're bleeding money away. Ace queen jack 7. Connectivity. Queen high suit. What? We have two folds. And I was wondering, what's the ratio between calling and 3-betting? And now everyone is folding. Oh, life is wonderful. Okay, let's skip the 3-betting part. Let's do a call. And I am amazed. Yeah, 7 is actually a dangler because it can only make a straight on 10 8 9. That's a good point on life until. So it doesn't connect with ace queen jack. Because if the board is 10 8 9, you have the straight with queen jack. So the 7 is a dead card actually. So let's say that it's ace queen jack 8. So yeah, with an 8, it becomes more of between calling and potting. So here with ace queen jack 8 with suited queen jack, it's 40-60 calling and potting. So actually a huge difference, which is good point from life on field. I just thought that yeah, it's connected, but it's not. So with 8, it becomes between calling and 3-betting. With 7, it drops to fold. So huge difference. And for a lot of players, most likely ace queen jack 7 and ace queen jack 8 seems very similar hands. But as you can see, there's a huge difference how to play because ace queen jack 8 has a lot more connectivity. You can wrap on 10-9 and you have more straight possibilities. So you change one card to one higher or lower and it can change the whole hand. Well, the same hand. How many of you paid attention? This is like in school. Teacher says something and then asks the same question in 5 minutes and no one knows the answer. So it is a fold. What about single suited rapid jacks? Uh, we talked about the pocket pairs earlier when we have pocket kings like single suited kings is always a call. I would say that this is a fold. To call with the jacks, it has to has more than just the jacks and suits, which is the right. And let's see the bucket. It's still overall 67% fold. So it just has to be connected. Where is the threshold? There it is. Well, Jack Jack then 3 is a mixed. So pretty much needs to have a connecting card. Yeah, Jack Jack then. So probably if it was a Jack 10 then 5, it would be a call every now and then. So as I thought, it needs to have more than just the jacks and suits. It needs to have one component more. All right, these are the hands that have potential if you are tilting. But I don't remember how Solver played them. Did he even call with them? But Twitch chat says fold. I mean, everyone folds here. Boom. Fold, 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 fold. All right, I believe you guys. How many more do we have? Let me see. Okay, we had around 15 hands. All right, that's enough. Oh, let's start the poll. Sorry. Wait for the poll to open. I'm a bit slow. So now it's open. Ace Queen 9-7. Suited ace. How strong is suited ace? And now we can mix strategy between calling or three betting. So the next question is it weighted towards either one? I would say three bet. Oh, I don't say three bet. I mean, it's a Turkish wrap. Caps everywhere. What? How many of you saw 52% fold coming? I mean, this is like trying to learn Swedish. If any one of you knows Swedish language, you know what this means. But in Sweden, in Swedish language, you have these grammar rules. I don't know how to say it in English. Like, I have to check the word from the dictionary. Just a second. Because otherwise, this damn story doesn't make sense. Inflected form. Is that? Yeah, it is. Inflected form. You have different. I never heard about that. You have different inflected forms, which means that you have different ways of saying certain word based on what do you mean with it. Is it in the past, in the future, and so on, if you understand. So in a grammar, in every language, you have rules how to say the words. And in Sweden, you have rules. And then when you understand the grammar rules, comes the differences. We have these exceptions. And in Sweden, in Swedish language, the list of exceptions is this long. You have more exceptions than you have words that follow the rules of grammar. So in Sweden, or in Swedish language, when you try to learn it, you always get this moment that, okay, now I got it how this works. And then comes a teacher and say that, yeah, but we have these exceptions. And there's 3,000 words that are exceptions to the rule. And now with Solver, I get this same feeling right now. Like, I get how Solver thinks. And then comes ace queen 9-7, which is 53% folds, and I'm lost. I don't know how Solver thinks. Queen then instead. Well, let's see. Ace queen then 9. I mean, single suited disconnected ace high with 2 Broadway cards, suited ace. Now it's not there because then would be considered Broadway card, but ace queen 9-8 is a fold. Damn. All right. We had earlier 6-5-4-3. And I don't remember what Solver did. Does anyone remember? Was it the call or 3-bet? I'm quite sure it wasn't the fold. Twitch chat says it's a call. Oh, there's that 1% who folds. That is a misclick. So Solver makes misclicks too. It's a call, but Solver made one misclick. All right. Ace, king, queen then. I have a feeling that I remember what this was. Because it was so weird that Solver 3-bet a similar hand with 3 of a suit. But it's 4 Broadway cards, so I would say it's a 3-bet. Probably mixed strategy. Yeah. What do I know? Twitch chat is right. Don't ever argue with Twitch chat. I mean, who would win? If your wife gets into argument with Twitch chat, who would win? Who would be the winner? I don't know what happens if someone's wife gets into argument with Twitch chat, because it's two unbeatable forces. I hope it never happens. All right, king jack then. With suited jacks, we just talk about that you need to have suit and you need to have some more. We have a high suit and we have connectivity. I would say it's always a call, not good enough to 3-bet. So it's quite easy to figure out what to do with that one. King, queen, then 9. Oh, we get the 3-bets in the mix. My initial thought is it's a no-brainer call. Easy game. But now Twitch chat made me unsure. I still go with call. And 100% call. Yeah, ace would be a lot better, like ace queen than 9, and the hand is way different. King jack then 9, 3-bet. That's a good question. Well, 50-50. If it's suited to king, then yeah. And if it has, like it's a bad suit, it's suited to the 10, or it has 3 of a suit, then it's a call. So pretty much with the jack then, and suited to king. I mean, I probably this hand, king, queen, then 9, if it suited the king, it would be a 3-bet. I would assume. No. Fuck me. Never a 3-bet. Yeah, 3-betting is plus EV for sure. So if you 3-bet, you still make money, or should make. But yeah, king, queen, then 9, not a 3-bet. King, jack, then 9 is a 3-bet. And I don't know why. I mean, what changing queen to jack, how it benefits the hand so much? That's the thing I'm wondering. Why changing queen to jack? Yeah, it has more connectivity, but then with king, queen, then 9, if a jack comes on the board, you already have probably a strong hand. So, I mean, now the cap is in the middle. Well, the top cap doesn't matter because it's only ace high straight. So, yeah. Oh, solver loves jack then. So, what do we know? Solver hates ace king, solver hates deuce, and solver loves jack then. All right. I start to get a feeling. Is this good enough to play? It has the cap on the middle. So it's not, I mean, if we play 6-5-4-3, is 7-6-4-3 that bad? Of course, with the 3 of the suit sucks. So everyone folds, all right? Everyone folds, but not what if it's single suited? 7-6-4-3. So 7-6-4-3 is a fold, even single suited. Well, okay. All right. Jack then the 8th. And now, when cutoff opens, for most of us, the mouse starts to go over calling or raising, and you don't know which one to press. So it's a mixed strategy. But you have to press either button. Which one is it? There's no mixed strategy button on Poker Client. So I would say that calling and 3-betting, the EV is probably very close to each other. So on the table, you can just figure out whether you want to play a big. But once again, in these situations, I would say that instead of rolling a dice, especially in the small stakes, you should think about what kind of players are on the blind. Do you want them to be in the pot, or do you want them out of the pot? Like if there's huge calling station on the blind, you want him to be in the pot. But if your target players is the cutoff and you want to knock the blinds away, I would say that then 3-betting is better. Oh, Callan, you have the Turkish version or the Greece version. There's only a call or raise button on the client. Okay, it's 2 out of 3 times call, 1 out of 3 times 3-bet. EV is very close. Yeah, but that's why Greece players never fold, because they don't have. If you have played on PokerStars ES on the Spanish version, there's no fold button in the client at all. Everyone has VPIP 100. Good games. A few more. Crappy ace. I think last time before it has ace 10 now, so it's not that super horrible, but this is a perfect rundown. I mean, whatever the flop is, you have at least a cut shot. Or at least a backdoor cut shot. But this is the hand that connects with almost any board in some way. This is perfect Spanish drawing hand. But solver doesn't love it. What do we do with these kind of hands? Decently connected, double suited, but all the cards are a bit too low. I mean, these are the hands that, yeah, probably mixed strategy between everything. 30, 30, 30. Or randomizing the client. that would be insane. Like there's button, there's fold, call, raise, fuck it. And the last one randomizes with the sizing or folding or calling or whatever. That would be insane. So if you want to change the gears and mix your strategy, you let the client randomize. Um, this is the hand that often I tell people that when you start to tree bet these hands, then the chance of your hand being dominated is higher than the chance you dominating your opponent hand. Like if you make a pair straight draw, two pairs flush draws, the lower your hand goes, the higher chance there is that opponent dominates you instead of you dominating opponent. I would just call. Oh, not even close. Not even close. Personally, I hate to tree bet these hands because then you often get those mediocre hits. Of course, you can hit the board in so many ways. But then when the money goes in, you're often being dominated with the flush draws, and opponent has higher equity than you expect then. But it is. This should be easy. Let me open the poll. But we talk about pocket jacks, cutoff versus button, or button versus cutoff. You need to have more than just the jacks, even the suited ones. Even if it's suited to jack, need to have more. It's clear fold. All right, another. There's the poll. Another rapid ace high hand, but now with ace queen and 5-3. So it's getting slightly better and better. Is this enough? Asking about double suited jacks. I don't know. We can see it in the end. The hands end soon. I don't think we have double suited jacks coming up. No, we don't. But I actually gotta go soon, so we could check those double suited jacks after this hand. Everyone is folding and someone is three betting. I would like to see a mixed strategy. I mean, does Chain Anders or anyone know, is there a hand pre-flop where it's mixed between folding and three betting, so no calling at all in any pre-flop situation? Is there any hand that versus open it's either three bet or fold? Well, Moonlight Master is asking the same thing at the same time. Yeah, does the solver any time go for three bet or fold? Like super polarized strategy. Queen then 7-8. No, it was a call and raise. I would fold this hand, but solver wouldn't. Solver would call. All right, let's. Where's my bucket tool? What was it? Double suited jacks. There's double suited jacks and tens. All right. So there's the double suited jacks. Probably this hand is a fold. Oh, it is actually. But let's see the bucket. And double suited jacks is 14% 3-bet. So not very often. Mostly a call. So if you want to make your life easy, then just double suited jacks without much more. Just call. It becomes a 3-bet when it's very connected. Jacks at 10 nines, jacks at 10 8 double suited. And then as soon as it gets a bit disconnected, the weird thing, as soon as we add king or queen to the hand, the 3-betting frequency goes down. So queen jack jack 10 is 3-bet less than jack jack 10 9. So that's the question about double suited jacks. Do we 3-bet them? Yeah, every now and then. Yeah, with solver, it's always important to understand that solver is not the absolute truth that says you have to play. It's the optimal strategy versus another solver strategy. So it's just, I mean, versus every strategy, there's optimal counter strategy. And solver finds the, can't remember the word, equilibrium, where the solver strategy is best versus solver strategy, and neither one can exploit each other. But as soon as the opponent deviates from solver strategy, which is the actual truth for 100% of players probably in the world, your optimal counter strategy deviates from the solver strategy too. So you have to remember that if solver says that you have to 3-bet or queen 10 8 6 is a 3-bet double suited, it doesn't mean that in your games where you play, 3-betting it would be even be profitable or more profitable than calling. You have to remember that. But in poker strategy, how I approach poker, we should have a standard strategy. How do we play hand in a vacuum versus our player pool 100 pp's deep versus unknown opponents? Because that's the most common scenario we have if we don't have information on the opponent. So the standard strategy you should be using on PokerStars PLO 500 Zoom is different than you would need to use versus Indian home games, because your average opponent is way different. And if you have no idea what standard strategy to use, then solver strategy is a real starting point, because then opponent can't really exploit you heavily. So if you want to build up a standard strategy, solver strategy is a good starting point. If you know your opponents and your player pool, you might make a player pool tendency thing from your database, or you just know how your opponents play small stakes different than higher stakes, then you can adjust that standard strategy how you see fit. Like in solver strategy, we make things more simplified. We don't follow it truly. Like if average opponent overfolds the flop, we can see it a bit more, and so on and so on. But you should have some kind of idea about your standard strategy. And then when you have information on the opponent, then you can start to deviate from the standard strategy. But don't deviate from your standard strategy because you want to mix your game. Because that's just bullshit. If you want to deviate from the standard strategy, you have to know why you do it. You need to have a good logical reasoning why deviating is creating more EV than not deviating. So solver strategy is very helpful if you just put it in the right context and understand what it means, and don't think that I have to follow solver because solver is God, and if I don't, I will be burned. And then you go to your average PLO2 game and start to 3-bet queen then 8-6 and wonder why am I losing money. or you 3-bet a663 and wonder why I'm losing money. Because I think if we made a simulation for pre-flop and we know that opponent never folds to 3-bets, then I have a feeling that a663 is not a 3-bet. So put things into context and understand what things mean. And in poker, the bottom line or the ultimate goal is not to play solver strategy. The ultimate goal is to make as much money as you can with your strategy, or at least in EV. So your goal is to come up with a strategy that has the highest EV versus your opponent's strategy, which means that you want to exploit your opponent as much as possible. And solver strategy counters your opponents from doing that. With solver strategy, it's harder for them to exploit you. So in one way, you could think that solver strategy is our defense, and then figuring out what opponent does is our offense. And offense is trying to score points. Defense is trying to prevent opponent from scoring points. If that helps you to understand what are we dealing here. That's my approach to poker. And it's not truth either. Definitely not an absolute truth. It's my mind. Feel free to disagree. Yeah, and of course, when we do these solver quizzes, you want to try to answer what solver does, because if we explore what solver does, we want to learn what solver does. Then we can think about, would I do this on my games? And why would I, why wouldn't I, and so on. And that's what makes poker such a great game. Because it's not like some other strategy games where if you figure out the ultimate strategy, then you have solved the game. You're unbeatable. Move on to the next game. Because the perfect strategy in poker, especially in PLO, is so damn hard that not mortal human can do that. No one can do it until we get good real-time solver assistance softwares, which are going to kill the game. But until that, people are not playing perfect, so your optimal strategy is not perfect solver strategy. So there's always reason to learn. And that's why I love small stakes. That's why I enjoy the game on PLO 20 more than game of PLO 50 at the moment. Because the variety of opponent is higher. I mean, the higher you go in stakes, the more average opponent tendencies tend to close the solver tendencies and good rep tendencies. Like in PLO 500 Zoom, you have 50 players, 45 of those could be in a range of normal rep stats. You don't have VPIP 100 guys on PLO 500 Zoom probably that much. When we come to PLO 20, we have super nits, super calling stations, super maniacs, passive reps, aggressive reps, and all kinds of different characters. And that's what makes them so interesting stakes. Because on the same table, you have lots of different players, and then you have to think about what's my strategy versus that one. How do I exploit that one? And then you can motivate bots where you have passive ones, aggressive ones. You have to think, how do I adjust to this situation so it benefits me? How do I use the passive one to exploit the aggressive one? How do I use the aggressive opponent to exploit the passive one? And the strategy can be actually, in a way, it can be more complicated on small stakes because you have those different opponents. But when you come to PL 500, everyone has VPIP between 20 and 30. So the strategy in hand is more complicated on PL 500 for sure. But then the table dynamics and those things can be a bit more complicated on PLO 20. So if someone says that you don't need strategy on micros below 50, it's nonsense. It's just different strategy. And there's so much you can learn. You can try to be better versus your opponent in so many levels that's why I love small stakes. It's fun. And as I am not a professional, I play for fun. All right. Now we went a bit over time, but it was fun. Thanks everyone for joining. Definitely we'll do more pocket tool streams on afternoons when games are not running. And today we just did pre-flop once, but you can do any pre-flop spot, multi-way, and then there's a ton of post-flop boards where you can do post-flop scenarios and so much more. So stay tuned. Thanks for joining. Thanks for the new followers. I will see you next time. Thank you and bye bye.